We got a good comment from Adam Hummel over here, and he's got some secret sauce here. He goes, "If you don't have 5,000 Facebook friends, your local area, why the fuck not?" That is 100% true. You should be just hitting up a couple hundred people a day, sending friend requests, all realtors, property managers, just people in your area. This way, you get more eyes on you as well, and that's something you could do organically and for free. It's just a matter of time. And I look at a lot of people's pages, and I only see like 200-300 friends, and I'm like, what are you doing over there? You got to start putting in that work, so definitely get yourself out there. And I
Can I
also want
speak
to,
on that?
yeah, talk to me, brother.
So I don't have 5,000 friends on my Facebook. You know what I mean? I don't have 5,000 friends on my Facebook, not even on my personal Facebook. But some people's areas, Facebook doesn't work for them. Not everybody's area is going to, I'm sure in Nome, Alaska, Facebook is probably not going to work for you there. But you know what I mean? Other places work for other things. So it's not about, I'm not, and no disrespect to Adam, but some people, I don't even get that much business from Facebook in my
But
area.
but bro, you listen. I got to stop you there, bro. Adam's got. He showed me his last 28 days, bro. He's probably got about 20 million views on his Facebook. He's crushing it, and I'm a Facebook guy, bro. And you
Yeah,
want to get out there, bro, that's where you get out there. And especially in junk
I don't
removal,
doubt it.
it's the demographics, and it's everybody in your area, all the realtors. Now I'm driving around town and people coming up and they're like, oh, I'm friends with you on Facebook. I go to the dump, everybody knows me over there. So Facebook is definitely, and all it is do 20 to 50 people a day, just send friend requests. That's it. It's just a
Yeah.
marathon. You got to do it every day. It gets annoying. Every day you're like, damn, dude, I keep doing this. And it's like click, 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 click. And you're like, okay, this is like, I'm kind of like stalker creepy style right here, but you got
Yeah.
to do it. You know what I mean?
I used to get so many private messages from Facebook groups. Stop posting. You can't post every day. You can't do
Yes.
this. I've been in next door jail so many times.
Yep.
So many times I got a Latin bail bonds that helps me out now when I get in next door jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just gotta push it. And if you guys can get into that level where you have that many followers, that many views, jobs are going to be coming in by the dozens. You just better be ready, because as we know, there's a lot of guys who do this job by themselves. It is so hard to go do 6 or 7 jobs yourself,
Yeah.
and it just depends on what kind of job you're trying to target. If you're targeting just that one refrigerator pickup, you might be able to do 8 jobs a day, 10 jobs a day, 15 jobs a day, But if you're targeting that certain range job, you might just be able to do 3 jobs a day, 2 jobs a day. You see what
Hell
I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wanted to comment on what we were talking about a little earlier, and that's what as far as putting money in, and Kevin was saying, not everybody's got a marijuana farm to be able to throw the money in and all. And if you do get to know me personally, the one thing that most people that say that's real is how tight I am with my money. And that's how I got where I was. You know what I mean? It's I'm that guy that's, I want a deal for everything. You know what I mean? And I'm the guy that's, going to use my YouTube influence as well to, get services done for me, that most people would pay for and all. That's another benefit of being out there and making content and doing the whole YouTube thing. So, I don't want people to just think like, oh, yeah, this guy just comes and just throws tons of money at everything. Because if that was the case, I'd have no problem going dropping 50K this month on Google Ads and all, you know what I mean? And just start blowing up like that. That's not how I'm going about this. I'm learning, just like you guys all said, organically. I'm building a strong foundation. Now, after I learn and get all this experience of being on the truck and everything, that's another thing. I'm on the truck. Most guys in my position wouldn't be out actually doing this job. They'd think they could just come in and just hire a few employees, buy a couple of trucks, and send them out there on their way, and they'll figure it out like that. From me being on the truck, I'm realizing, damn, I'm glad I'm doing this on the truck. There is so many stuff that I learn on a daily basis that I would have had to find out the hard way, sending employees, and I would have cost me a lot of money. So, that's why I'm going about everything the way I am. I'm going at it slow. I'm keeping, I'm happy with my 2 to 3 jobs a day right now. It's giving me and my girl experience. I'm starting to see different situations we come across, and I'm taking notes. And I'm saying the whole time, what would happen if I sent 2 employees instead of us doing that? What would I charge? How would I handle this? And I'm building my systems the whole time I'm doing this. So this way, when it's time and now I have a strong foundation and I don't have these crazy bills coming in where every month where, oh my God, I got to come up with 20 grand just to cover my Google ads, my Facebook ads, this ad, that ad, blah, blah, blah. This guy's paying this. And you're just like, oh my God, like you're working for everybody else, and how much stress that was. No, I want to do this the opposite way. I want to have too many phone calls coming in, not enough labor right now to cover them all, and then I'll figure out from that. So I just wanted to make that clear, and that's what's different about me with things. I am actually very tight when it comes to business. Granted, I did go and I bought the truck outright. I didn't want to pay payments. The interest rates were ridiculous at that time. So it was just, smarter for me to go about that. But that is the only one where it was like an oh shit move, like, where most people wouldn't be able to do that. But from doing that, I've also could now comment on my thoughts of getting a new truck right away. You don't need it. There's no reason to get a new truck right away.
Yeah.
Go
Hey,
get
Paul,
if
Paul,
that's what you want.
you actually started your business in the most original way I've ever seen. You learned from everybody by doing your podcast. You learned about this business from all the OGs, from the people that have really succeeded in this. And, you interviewed them. You did this long before you even set foot in that truck. And, and it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. You learn, I mean, you did the YouTube videos, you learned everything else, but from a business standpoint, that was the most original and, I mean, incredibly thoughtful way to actually learn how to do a business is actually interviewing some of the people that are doing it at a high level. And I think to me, that's super cool. I mean,
Well,
you learned like from the best of the best, and you asked the questions. You used this platform as on your podcast to ask the right questions and to learn, and you soaked in so much knowledge before you even set foot in a customer's house. And I've never seen anything like that. And that shows me that you are one hell of a businessman, because you've done this in the past and you've learned from, like I mentioned before, you learned from your failures so much that you came in here strong because you went straight to the fucking source. And I really admire that about you, and I love it.
and that was the other thing that you touched on that you just reminded me was, you said failures. So what I've always did was make those failures into success. So the ending story was never a failure. I've never experienced where the end result was a failure. I've experienced the failures at the beginning. And I'm talking, bro, like when we first started in Colorado, and I was one of the first 8 dispensaries to get a license medically out there. And, we had to start a few months early. But we started doing everything with the growings and all that. We had these growers doing it, but they never did it on a commercial scale. They were always used to a smaller scale. Now we're in this big warehouse. So there's a lot of factors, a lot of learning. We lost our whole first crop. We're talking like, this is like $1 million crop. Totally had to throw it out. It was contaminated. They came in there. They said, you got to burn this. This is gone. And we were just like, this was like, oh my God, like literally all our money's gone now, and we haven't even opened. So that was one of the failures that I learned right from the beginning, where we almost were out of business before we even opened the door. You know what I mean? So it's like things like that, that I remember from the past. And I'm like, how do I go into a new industry and make sure that doesn't happen? Well, let's go start a podcast. Let's go get all the top people on there. Let's pick all their brains and then put them all together and make my own strategy, So when I actually pulled up to that first time to the first customer's house in my truck, yo, I was the most confident person. I felt like I knew how to price. I've been pricing for the last 6 months. From the photos, I could look at things, and from Matt and Jojo Vic, I'm nailing every single one. Like, how much do you guys think it's going to charge a thumb? And I'm like, boom, nailed it. So, I went in there kind of like knowing things and all, and it definitely took like that whole edge away, and underpricing myself. Don't get me wrong, I still do mess up. It's not that often, but I had a mess up the other day where it was like 15 minutes after starting the job, I start looking at this pile and I'm just like, oh my God, did I underprice this? And there is no worse feeling staring at this big mountain, knowing that you're probably going to lose money on this and you got a few hours of crap ahead of you. So it's like you learn from those experiences like real quick. But if I send employees oh my God, that really would have been a sucky experience. So, learn from these guys out there. Learn from Mr. Yee. Learn from Kevin. These guys went through it. They've tried it all. They've went and seen the errors. Listen to them. Believe them. You don't got to go experience for yourself and all. And that is one of the best things I could tell you guys all, and one of the guys that I started talking to yesterday was this young entrepreneur. It's only 17 years old. Gavin's Junk Removal. He's over in Lakeland, Florida. And I seen him post in one of the Facebook groups yesterday. And he was like, this is where I'm advertising. Where else should I go? And everybody was going on there giving him advice, but nobody asked like context, like how old are you, like how long you've been in business. Everybody's just spewing out this info. And one guy's like, Google ads, drop money into that. And, so I hit up the kid and I'm like, I didn't know he was a kid at the time. I'm like, before you go start spending on Google ads and everything, like, tell me a little about yourself. And like, do you have a website and all? Bro, he started telling me he doesn't even have a website. He's 17 years old. And I'm like, whoa, bro, you're 17? Dude, I don't even think you can do Google ads yet, man. I was like, we don't have a website, bro. Let's go and rewind a little. We're going ahead of ourselves. Let's start at the basics, bro. And I kind of gave him the layout of like how I did it. And he was like so thankful. And it was just like, you guys got it. You can't just give somebody advice and be like, yo, Google ads, man. Like, you're telling this 17-year-old kid and he's taking this advice for real because, he's listening to his elders and all. And this kid's probably going to save up his life savings and spend it on 1 week of Google ads and not getting nothing out of it. So it's.
I think you should buy him a ticket to the Junk Expo. And
oh, bro, you just nailed it, guys.
Show him the hospitality and get a permission slip from his parents to sign. You know what I mean?
You just nailed it, bro.
Or you know what? Buy him and his mom a junk removal ticket and say, come on over, come check this situation out. Of course, come meet the Yee, because the Yee will be there. And guess what? I'm going to have a booth for everybody to come and sit down and talk to the Yee and just relax.
Hell yeah.
I made the mistake after the last Junk Expo and went out with some guys and, accompanied us with the Junk Teens. And I didn't realize they were still teens at the time. So here we are at a bar and they're like, yeah, I'll take a water.
Did you see? I did an interview with the Junk Teens at the Junk Expo. Did you see that?
Really?
On my video, I did an interview with those guys, and they're funny. Once you get to know them behind the camera, and they're typical dudes, they're typical youngsters, and they have fun too. And it wasn't so serious.
No, they're actually pretty good guys. I do some consulting with them and some helping them out with some stuff. So yeah, they're really cool kids but still kids, but they're doing really, really good stuff over there.
They taught me so much at that expo, man. I really broke down their whole like speech and everything. And what I really took that day was telling a story. Anything in social media is what grabs everybody's attention. And that's pretty much keeping it simple right there. Whenever you're making a post, try telling a story. People like to hear that and all that. So they are like killing it with the whole social media and all. I think they might be other ones that be killing it on Instagram. I'm sure they're getting a lot of business through that as well.
Yeah, they're doing really, really good on social media. I mean, they're they're at that age. They know how to master social media. And it, like I said, when you're good at that, they can also haul junk, but they're going to get a lot of experience with social media. It's going to bring them a lot of attention, and a lot of customers.
Hell yeah.